Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Federation Nation. I am Anthony. This is Collectors Entertainment Network. And right here, we've got the History of WrestleMania 1 through 5 magazine. We're going to go through that page by page this week on Federation Nation. Alright guys, we've got the History of WrestleMania 1 through 5 we're going to get into. But before we do that, guys, I'd like to ask you, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please comment down below, did you have this magazine? Let me know in the comments below. Please share this video with anyone you think may like it as well. And go ahead and give this video a like. That helps a lot too. Also, go on over to Facebook and join the Federation Nation Facebook group and show off your vintage WWF collections. Alright, we got all that out of the way. I say we get into the History of WrestleMania 1 through 5 magazine. Let's get into it. Alright guys, WWF presents special 5th anniversary edition, the History of WrestleMania 1 through 5. An exclusive pictorial history of the first 5 WrestleManias that shook the world. Here we've got some WrestleManias here. That's obviously WrestleMania 3. That's WrestleMania 2. That's WrestleMania 2. That's WrestleMania 3. And this is, I don't know, either 4 or 5. Alright, let's get into it. Here you go. The History of WrestleMania. I got this March 14th, 1990 at Candy Barn. WrestleMania, an official history. There is the front, and actually that is the over here is the what's on the back. You'll see it when we get to the end. The first time WrestleMania began, a tradition of excitement and glamour. There is Hulk Hogan with Muhammad Ali, and there is a solo picture of Muhammad Ali. We've got Mr. T, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and then of course you've got some action shots with Roddy Piper, Mr. Wonderful. Some more from the main event. There's a Hogan getting the pin on Mr. Wonderful, and a little action shot of him and Roddy Piper. And there, Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd. Of course, that was the $15,000 slam match. There is another picture of that. And of course, Tito Santana versus the Executioner. And Greg the Hammer Valentine versus JYD for the Intercontinental title. And it mentions right here King Kong Bundy versus Special Delivery Jones, but I don't see a picture for that. Do they show you any pictures of that? Nope. Then it goes to Nikolai Volkoff and the Iron Sheik versus Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. It doesn't say that it's for the tag team titles, which it was. Matt Bourne versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but he's not the Dragon yet. He's just Ricky Steamboat. And Wendi Richter versus Leilani Kai. That also doesn't mention that it's for the women's title. Oh, look at this. Own a piece of WWF History WrestleMania, the video collection. Only $39.95 each. And this is still Coliseum Video putting that out. These are just the official. It's not like a new collection. It's all the Coliseum videos that were around previously. I guess you could still order them. And look, free Pile Driver, the music video, when you ordered one of them. Alright, WrestleMania 2. 3 times the action at 3 different arenas. Of course, this is Hogan versus Bundy in the steel cage at WrestleMania 2 in Los Angeles. There is more. Here are some of your celebrities. You got Tommy Lasorda. You got, who is that? Kathy Lee Crosby, I think. Of course, Ray Charles and Susan St. James from Kate and Alley. Kid growing up in the 80s. I loved Kate and Alley. All right. There's more of Hogan and Bundy in the cage. And, of course, the Battle Royal that took place in Chicago, which featured WWF superstars and NFL superstars. And of course, Andre was the big winner when he eliminated Bret Hart, the final person. The final person was Andre, but then the two people before were Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Got Anvil over, then threw Bret Hart over onto the anvil. And of course, you had Mr. T versus Roddy Piper in a boxing match at the Nassau Coliseum, not too far away from where I grew up. The British Bulldogs versus Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus. See, it says Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He was not the barber yet. Wasn't even close. I mean, it was about a year away, but still. He was still Brutus Beefcake. And they don't mention it's for the tag team title. Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff versus the Magnificent Morocco. And George the Animal Steel versus Macho Man Randy Savage. Again, it doesn't mention that it's for the IC title. At least I got some pictures there. Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts versus George Wells. Velvet McIntyre versus Fabulous Moolah. And Corporal Kirshner versus Nikolai Volkoff in a flag match. And then we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Hercules. See, he was Hercules Hernandez. They don't exactly have everything exactly right. Uncle Elmer versus Adorable Adrian Adonis. And Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog versus Terry and Hoss Funk. Of course, that is Dory Funk Jr. And the Ultimate Challenge WrestleMania 6 was on the way. Here we go, guys. WrestleMania 3, the Hulkster battles the Giant. This was the first WrestleMania I got to see live. I was not going to be denied this. None of my friends that I knew were getting it. I had my mom calling up anyone she knew that might be getting it. And we did find a friend of the family who was ordering it. And I just went over there, hung out with their family, and watched WrestleMania 3. It was pretty cool. Of course, Aretha Franklin and Bob Uecker. Mary Hart was also a special celebrity guest, but I don't see her there yet. And of course, it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the heavyweight championship. This was the biggest match ever. I'm telling you guys, if you weren't around, you don't know what that build-up was like. It was huge. And of course, Roddy Piper versus Adorable Adrian Adonis in Piper's retirement match, which would only last about 2 years because then he'd be back. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage. Guys, I've talked about this on the channel before. I was a Macho Man fan at this time. I've been a Macho Man fan since like 1986 when he was still a heel. This was heartbreaking. I mean, it was the greatest match I'd ever seen. I was on the edge of my seat. But I was heartbroken when Macho Man lost the title. I couldn't get over it. Of course, I got happier when Hogan beat Andre later in the night. But alright, the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana versus the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis. I love this match. Some people have talked not too great about it, but I love this match. I mean, when they get Davis and they just start beating him up, and it's just good. It's just good fun. I love that match. Alright, Junkyard Dog versus King Harley Race. That was a good match. The Rougeau Brothers versus the Dream Team. That was a good match. And of course, that is what was the turn of Brutus Beefcake. You got Coco Beware versus the Natural Butch Reed. Jake the Snake Roberts versus the Honky Tonk Man. That had some great build-up. And of course, you had Alice Cooper in Jake the Snake's corner. You had the Killer Bees versus Nikolai Volkoff and the Iron Sheik. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan played into that. He got the Bees disqualified by hitting the Iron Sheik with the 2x4. Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules. That was earlier in the night. And then, of course, you had Hillbilly Jim, Haiti Kid, and Little Beaver versus King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. And the opening match right there is the Can-Am Connection versus Magnificent Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton. All right, look at this new Wrestling Spotlight featuring Jake the Snake Roberts on sale at your newsstands March 20th. You've got the perfect gift for the holidays, a membership in the official 1990-91 fan club. And here, of course, is your spring-summer 1990 WWF merchandise catalog. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Then you've got your novelties and a lot of your kids' stuff. Here, of course, your t-shirt page. Gotta love that. Always love that page. Your posters. Did I have any? I think I had that Hulk Rules poster, but that's about it. I mean, I had a bunch of WWF posters as a kid, but as far as what I'm seeing on this page, I think I had the Hulk Rules one, and that was about it. Got some accessories, your order form, and then, of course, your Hulk Hogan workout sweatshirt. All right, look, have it all. Here's your back issues for WWF magazine. Speaking of magazine, this magazine's a little bit harder to deal with on the music stand, so just bear with me. All right, WrestleMania 4, what the world is watching. There are your celebrities there at the bottom. You've got Robin Leach, you've got Gladys Knight, and you've got Vanna White with returning Bob Uecker. All right. Of course, it was all about the tournament, so here are some matches from the WrestleMania 4 Championship Tournament. They got, what was it? Andre and Hogan both got like a double DQ. Was it a double DQ or a double count out? I think it was a double DQ. And then, of course, the finals was Macho Man versus Ted DiBiase. There he is, looking down at Andre the Giant. You had some other matches. You had Honky Tonk Man versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Here it says, for the Intercontinental title. That's the first time I've seen them mention that. Let me put that back in there. And there are some action photos. You had Strike Force versus Demolition for the WWF Tag Team title. Again, glad they mention it finally that it's for the championship. All right, what else do we got? We've got the Ultimate Warrior versus Hercules. Oh, and of course, the 20-man over-the-top Battle Royal, which is what turned Bret the Hitman Hart face when he was double-crossed by Bad News Brown. Anything else going on? Oh, yeah, you had the British Bulldogs and Coco Beware versus the Islanders and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Wasn't he in like a beekeeper suit or something crazy? All right, clip this coupon to save 42% on your subscription to WWF Magazine. And WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers exploded. And of course, that is the Macho Man, Randy Savage, versus the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. What else did we have? That's more of that. And then you've got, the Piper's Pit with Morton Downey Jr. and Brother Love. You had Run DMC perform. It was like the WrestleMania rap or something like that. And more of your main event of Hogan versus Savage. All right. The Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude. Now, that was for the Intercontinental title, but they don't mention it. In fact, Ravishing Rick Rude won the Intercontinental title. So it's kind of weird. Sometimes they... In fact, WrestleMania 4 is the only time they've mentioned when anything was for a championship. You've got Jake the Snake Roberts versus Andre the Giant and Demolition versus the Powers of Pain with Mr. Fuji. And Mr. Fuji. That's right. He, I think, wrestled in that match. And that was for the tag team titles as far as I remember. And even though it was a handicap match, but they don't mention it. All right, Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan. Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Bad News Brown. The Hart Foundation versus Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine, otherwise known as Rhythm and Blues. Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Dino Bravo. You had Strike Force versus the Brain Busters. I believe this is when Strike Force breaks up. And, of course, Martel turns heel. Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And the Bushwhackers versus the Fabulous Rougeaus. Man, there's a lot of matches here at WrestleMania 5. You got the Blue Blazer versus Mr. Perfect. The Rockers versus Akeem and Bossman. And Hercules versus King Haku. And here you go. Here are your WrestleMania results right there, guys. All your WrestleMania results. And an ad for Acclaim, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. And here is the back with more WrestleMania pictures, just like it's showed in the front. And if you want, we can quickly just sort of open it up so you can see the whole thing as it is. Pretty cool stuff. All right, that is your special 5th anniversary edition, the history of WrestleMania 1 through 5. All right, guys, that was the history of WrestleMania 1 through 5 magazine. Again, guys, I'm going to ask you, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please comment down below. Let me know your memories. Please share this video with anyone you think may like it as well. And speaking of likes, go ahead and give this video a like because that helps a lot too. And again, I've told you before, I'm telling you again, go over to Facebook and join the Federation Nation Facebook group. All right, that's it for the history of WrestleMania 1 through 5 magazine. A few years later, they came up with another history of WrestleMania, which I guess at that point was 1 through 6 or 1 through 7. We're going to get to that because, of course, I've got it. We're going to get to that in a few weeks or a month or whenever we can fit it in. Not going to be next week, but we definitely will get to it. But that is it again for the history of WrestleMania 1 through 5 magazine. So until next time, guys, have a good one.